Welcome to Santana True Crime. We've got episode 4, our final episode of the Halloween series. We are joined by Dr. Brian Santana, the true crime professor, Jayson Blair, and we've got Kelli Brink. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Thanks for having us back.
Hello.
Can't believe you had us 4 episodes in a row.
I can't believe that this happened either. I was talking with Brian about this and the idea, and I was like, would they go for maybe 2 episodes? And we're looking at it. I was like, man, 4 would be awesome. So I am honored that, y'all have stuck through this with me.
Well, and you also figured it out. Like, you don't really have to ask me. You just ask my assistant, and she tells me where to go, and I go there. I mean, like, I have no idea what's happening.
She sits
you stories on the source, whatever.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
just tells you not to move and come with some stories.
Right. Yes. Right.
And some good one-liners.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Nah, those come naturally. Right? Those come naturally.
All right. Well, for those that have not joined us in the past, we are going to be covering 4 stories today that are true crime based. We never know what Jason's going to pull out, but hopefully everyone's going to check out the other 3 episodes. We did some very interesting cases. And Brian, I think we are going to start out with you tonight.
Oh, wait. May I?
Go ahead.
Brian?
The story I have for you is the murder of Chelsea Bruck. Was a 22-year-old recent college graduate from Monroe, Michigan. Italian food. She described it probably by her 5'5" Okay.
Thank you, Brian, for indulging me there. Thank you for indulging me in my Halloween spirit.
So this is the murder of Chelsea Marie Bruck. This is so I typically go for cold cases or my kind of personal interest. This is a closed case. So and I say this so that this does have not a happy ending, but it's going to have more resolution than the types of stories I'm typically interested in. So Chelsea Marie Bruck was a 22-year-old recent college graduate, and this takes place in Monroe, Michigan. Michigan is sounding like a fairly dangerous place after we get through a lot of these stories. She was an aspiring chef with a passion for baking and Italian food. She's described as bubbly by her peers in interviews. She was one friend I described her as outgoing but cautious, which I thought was really interesting.
Did she light up a room though? Because it sounds like she did, and you're never supposed to do that.
This is a dangerous habit that apparently she is guilty of. She lived with her parents in Newport, Michigan. She was working.
If anyone ever
part-time
says to me that I light up a room, I am running. I am running. I am hiring Delta Force to protect me.
There was actually, when I was driving down the road, there was actually a car in front of me that had a bumper sticker that said, "If I die, I hope Keith Morrison said I lit up a room," and that was what. So there is something to that. But so Chelsea was working. She was living in Newport, Michigan. She worked part-time at a local restaurant. And she was just starting her career post-graduation from Monroe County Community College. So this story, like many of ours, takes place around Halloween. So this takes place over October 25th and 26th in 2014. So a fairly recent case. So the whole incident that kind of sparks everything here is a giant Halloween party that is taking place near Monroe on October 25th. So Chelsea was going out with 3 of her friends. She was dressed as Poison Ivy, if you all remember this character from, y'all know who Poison Ivy. Okay, good. So she's dressed, and Chelsea was going all out. Right. She's wearing like the full green body paint. She's got a black wig on. She's doing kind of with leafy accents attached to it. She's wearing the kind of skin tight outfit we've seen the character wear in the movies. And this is a big Halloween party. So this is about 800 people that are at this Halloween party. This is
so she's like the full on botanical bad girl.
Yeah, and she's gone all out. This is a really big party. This is like the level of party Cameron used to go to in college all the time. They've got fog machines and bonfires and music, and she was described as drinking moderately over the course of that night. And around 1:30, that was probably a lie. Oh, so right as I was saying that, it didn't really align with anything I was describing. So come on. That's the description. So around 1:30 in the morning, so now we're on October 26th. She got separated. She separated from she got separated from the people she was talking with. She realized that her friends had left her earlier in the night. And so she was trying to find a ride home. The last confirmed sighting that authorities were working with took place around 2:30 in the morning. So near the party entrance, she was chatted with a few people, and police were later able to recover some text messages. So at 2:45 a.m., she sent a message to a friend saying that she needed a ride. She sent a follow-up reply saying, "Hey, where are you?" She had not gotten any replies. And that's the last known sighting, because at 3:15 in the morning, Chelsea's phone battery is going to die. And the last ping that authorities are going to be able to recover is somewhere in the general vicinity of the party. So she didn't return home. She didn't answer any calls. And her friends initially just assumed that she had hitched a ride home and was sleeping off the party. Her mother, Kathy, reported her missing because she was concerned at 9:30 a.m. on the 26th. So just the next day. So fairly early on. And some of this was tied to the fact that Chelsea never missed her brunch with her mom as like a weekly thing. And she just didn't show up without any notice. So Chelsea's car was still at a friend's house from earlier. This was another red flag. The keys were inside, but her purse, the phone, and costume remnants were kind of nowhere in sight. So there was a lot of questions early on about where she was. The key evidence, police are going to kind of go through the actual party scene, but it's complicated.
Hold on. Wait. Yeah. With all my expertise in DC Comics, it's Poison Ivy, right?
Just Poison Ivy, yeah.
Did they look for ancient herbs that could have been used to silence her? That's where I would have gone first. Poison Ivy disappears. Mark LeGrand. Do you guys know the origin story of Poison Ivy?
I don't know this story. Yeah, I was like, I know of Uma Thurman plays her, right? In the movie. I know of Uma Thurman does.
No. You can't go with the movie. You got to go like with the old school DC Comics before.
Yeah, I don't know that.
So she's a botanist. She's seduced by this guy named Mark LeGrand, who poisons her with ancient herbs to silence her after he stole something. She survives, gains immunity to the toxins, becomes Poison Ivy. The new version, the Disney version, boring. Go on.
That's a more interesting story. But
do they rule that out?
Well, this Poison Ivy, her Poison Ivy costume is actually going to be the thing that like really turns in this case, because it does stand out because she had gone all out. Like people at the party remember her. So police are going back and they're interviewing people. And initially, they were looking in this like muddy field. There's no blood or personal items that they're able to recover from her. But a lot of people remember her because her costume looked really good and it stood out. So a number of witnesses early on are going to recall seeing her talk with a very tall man who was dressed in a black costume, which sounds very nondescript and ominous, but that's kind of what we get. They're also going to discover at the cell phone data, they're going to look at it forensically in more detail, and they are going to see that she was briefly moving in the direction of east from the party before it went dead. And the police are going to go and ask for help from anyone who was at the party, and more than 1,000 tips are going to flood in the first few days. So there's a lot of people that remember seeing her that night. Included unverified sightings of a green girl, is the way it's described, who was allegedly hitchhiking that night. There was no immediate closed circuit television that came up in our last episode. There was none of that available. This is a very rural outdoor area with spotty lighting, so they didn't have access to any video. And the case, so they have all these tips, but nothing really materializes until 6 months later. So this is April 26, 2015, and mushroom hunters, which you all know where this is going. So mushroom hunters are out there in a dense, remote, wooded area that's about 12 to 13 miles from where the party took place. They are going to find Chelsea's decomposed body wrapped in a moving blanket.
Along with not lighting up the room.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be a mushroom hunter.
Mushroom
hunter.
I'm a
blueberry
Kelli
picker
is actually an expert in mushroom hunting.
Well,
I have seen enough dead bodies. I'm going to avoid mushroom hunting.
I don't.
Berry picking.
Have you ever
never
found a dead body
dead
while
body.
mushroom
No.
hunting?
I have not found one, but I'm constantly reading about people finding them.
Kelli, have you found one? Because you're
No, I've only
expert.
found just mushrooms.
well,
That's all I found.
it makes you very suspicious of an area that's concentrated with like a lot of mushrooms popping up from it that you don't necessarily want to eat
Because
those.
they do
Yeah.
pop
Mhm.
up around decaying things.
Mhm.
So,
or
question,
dead
Kelli,
trees.
since you're
Yeah.
the expert on this, we're going to go to you for it. If you found a bunch of really good mushrooms, but a dead body was near it, would you still eat them?
Absolutely.
Like if you
Mushrooms
wash
are
them off,
not.
they're still good, right?
No, I would not. I mean, I have enough. I'm pretty picky about the mush. I mean, I wouldn't even eat anything with like a dead raccoon around.
What
let
if it
alone
was a
dead
truffle?
body.
What if it was a white truffle?
Ooh,
A white truffle.
gosh, that's tempting. I don't know. I mean, that's a situation I've never
All these
been in, and
mushroom
I hope I
connoisseurs
never.
here. What
Have you ever
Like
ate
a nice Alba truffle.
Just a little extra.
Have you ever
flavor.
eaten one of the like wrong mushrooms and then
No,
your
I
head starts
haven't.
spinning?
I haven't eaten the wrong mushroom, but I did eat an iffy mushroom about a month and a half ago.
Ooh.
It was a kind I had never picked before.
What is
And
that
I
moment
really-
right before you decide to eat it? What's going through your mind?
I
How
was
do you
like,
Bottoms
I'm-
up?
Basically, I told some people what I was doing. I was like, if things go south, here's a picture of the mushroom I ate. Just get me the whatever it is, antidote, whatever.
That sounds like that would kill the fun out of eating it, though. This is a very high stakes thing. You're eating it and just
Like-
waiting for what's going to happen to your body then.
Kind of like eating Halloween candy.
Yeah.
It could be poisonous.
Yeah.
It could be okay. We'll see in about 6 hours.
Like riding
That's
your
why you
last wheel.
X-ray
If
it.
something happens to me, this is what did it, and wondering what
Yes.
over the next few
Yeah.
hours.
Always leave a digital footprint. Yeah.
Fun white truffle fact. The compound in it that makes it sort of, they think, an aphrodisiac.
Mm.
It's like a pheromone. It's kind of
Mm.
like sweet and it's really nice. It's part of the
Yeah.
reason why people love truffles. It's also found in human sweat.
Weird.
Interesting,
Oh,
isn't it? Yeah.
wild. Yeah. Makes
All right.
sense, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
With that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So, Brian, you're talking about a dead body?
yeah, so the body's found, and the autopsy confirmed that the death was from blunt force trauma to the head, likely a fist or a rock, which is, I don't know, it seems a little bit different to me, but there was also signs of a sexual assault as well. The skeletal state had preserved traces of the green paint flecks in places and the wig fibers, and so that's how they were, at least early on, able to reasonably assume that this was Chelsea. There were no defensive wounds noted, and so authorities early on were working under the assumption that there was some kind of possible incapacitation that happened first. The scene had no nearby vehicle access, and so how the transport actually occurred, or kind of this location, these were some of the challenges.
How close was it? She was found months after?
This was 6 months. Yep.
6 months.
6
Wow.
months.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's about 13 miles from the party.
Wow.
So, this was and I want to point out too that early on, like, not only did the mother report it like in 9:30, like, so she hadn't even been missing 24 hours. So in the authorities, to their credit, get started really early with this. There's all these
so
tips.
they did like get into
Okay,
action.
hold
They
on.
weren't like
Wait,
you
wait.
gotta wait 48 hours first or anything like that.
I'm gonna prove I am a psychic.
Okay.
Let me guess. Whoever's caught, don't know who he is, what his name is gonna say, hold on, wait, she died during consensual rough sex. Okay, go on. Continue the story. We're gonna just keep my guess in an envelope here. Keep on going.
Okay. So
I'm really good at the
You know-
BS people make up.
one of the things. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Let's put this on the back burner. What you just said, because we're gonna come back to this. So the sheriff's department had also, in addition to like all this, the kind of interviews they did early on, in the town they had raised $50,000, a $50,000 reward, and they put billboards all across Michigan with just the slogan "Have you seen Chelsea?" and had her picture. So this was a fairly big search effort. They get started really early on. There was billboards. They used cadaver dogs. They used divers that went through the Huron River, which was nearby the scene, and just no kind of trace until they the mushroom hunters find her. So the friends, authorities had, had interviewed over 200 people. They given polygraphs. Many of the friends had already been cleared, but there was this creepy guy in blackface makeup that a lot of the people they interviewed kept pointing to, that was there at the party. And they ended up testing this guy's DNA against a DNA sample they were able to get from the blanket that she was wrapped in. And what would you know? It was a match. So this is a good example of people really kind of coming forward and offering information, investigators following up pretty swiftly. The guy that was ultimately arrested, this took place on July 22nd, 2016, was a 28-year-old guy named Daniel Clay. And the witness statements, the combination of the witness statements and his DNA on the blanket that her body was wrapped in, and also some statements that he was the individual that was identified as chatting with Chelsea around 2 a.m. right when she was trying to get a ride. This guy had a rap sheet, but it was mostly burglaries, meth possession, things like that. Now, when authorities are questioning him, he did confess to picking her up, but he said that she was very much into consensual rough sex. So that is going to be his big defense at the trial. He says that he said the sex was so rough that her head accidentally hit a rock, and he panicked. He didn't know what to do after she died, and so in a panic,
it's just like
he
you
took
tell
the body
me
to this remote
it's either
location
a rock
and
or
got
a
rid of it.
fist. What kind of BS are you going to make up? And then I'm like, that's the BS you're going to make.
So that's not a reasonable argument.
Yeah. Well,
head bounced off a rock.
Yeah,
repeatedly.
And I left her there and then dragged her 12 miles away.
Yeah. Why report it?
Definitely
right.
Yeah.
Bring her to a mushroom field instead.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes. Yes. That is really, really interesting. So we're talking. He gets the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
The DNA helps the weird descriptions of his bizarre behavior help. Right.
Yeah.
And his argument is she was into rough sex. Did he know her before, or he was just saying he met her that night?
No, he just
found out she was into rough sex. Okay.
And so there's the prosecutors, when they're digging into this, they're going to find out, in addition to these things he was formerly charged with, there's allegations of other assaults and experiences he had with other women who are going to come forward.
Do you know what the tip off on this guy is?
Yeah.
When you said burglary. Burglary is.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
When someone is willing to break into a house, particularly if it's an occupied house, they are ready to murder.
Wow.
Yep.
That's what Julia.
Look out for burglary on. Yeah. Look out for burglary on anybody's rap sheet.
Well, and the jury is not going to buy his story either. So he's going to be convicted. This is in 2017. He's going to be convicted of first degree first-degree murder and felony murder, and this is May 16th, 2017. And to life without parole is the sentence he's going to be given. Now, in terms of like the longer-term impact of this case, there's the case itself is closed now, but the family has really kind of they started a fund called Find Chelsea that was originally about kind of locating her, but has since kind of transformed into just a kind of fund for supporting other people, supporting kind of everything from stricter venue checks to kind of spotlighting potential risk at these rural parties for women that happen, and things that were related to the circumstances of her daughter. And that fund still exists to this day.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it sucks. It's tragic. These stories are horrible, but it is really nice when some good can come out of it, because it really does save other lives.
Yeah,
we
I don't know
know about.
You can prevent that from happening.
Did you really call that though? Like you didn't know that ahead of time, Jayson?
No, but it's just the kind of BS that somebody would make up. I mean, as soon as he said rock, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. I've read about the Central Park dude.
Yeah.
And the thing too about saying he's a burglar, the reason why burglary is so alarming, you're going through other people's stuff, you're putting your hands on their stuff, you're spending unnecessary amount of time in their space, you're taking the risk that somebody sees you or comes in. There's this whole lording over people piece to burglary, this whole control. That's a little bit different than the guy who breaks in to steal your TV or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like the you want to worry about those burglars.
Yeah.
Like I think in my last episode or one of my recent episodes, Julie even brought up she wouldn't be shocked if we find out that Brian Koberger, even though he wasn't charged, had done some things where he broke into people's spaces while they weren't there and just went through their shit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great episode, by the way. People need to check that out on the Silver Lining Handbook.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah, she's a smart lady.
Yeah, maybe you can get her on the show, have her on.
Got a pro tip for you? Ask her.
Well, Jayson, do you want to go with your case?
Sure. Well, this time I'm going to do a little differently. Last time I took you also to Michigan for a haunted Ojibwe tale from Mackinac Island. And then I took you to the American South for a story that ran through my family, or I guess a couple different stories. So for tonight, I'm going to take you... Well, first, gather close, my friends. I want to let me tell you my final story, more from the modern era. This part, myth, part memory, all of it's a warning. So, there was once this woman named Ruthie Mae McCoy living in a place where the walls were really thin and help was even thinner. So she cried out one night, saying someone was coming through her bathroom mirror. The neighbors heard, the police were called, but no one came in time. Ruthie died alone, not because no one knew, but because nobody believed. And some say people made a movie about this. So I'm going to skip to that for a moment. As this story goes, a man named Daniel Robitaille, a black artist in the 1880s, fell in love with a white woman. He's murdered by a lynch mob. They cut off his arms with a rusty saw, smeared his body with honey, and he's stung to death by a bunch of bees. And so the method chosen is to prolong his suffering and to humiliate him. Before he dies, he's shown his reflection in a mirror, and to the total befuddlement of his murderers, he whispers, Candyman. But the story doesn't end there. He becomes a vengeful spirit. Now, when you say Candyman's name 5 times in front of the mirror, legend says he appears and he kills you with a hook hand. Mm-hmm. And if the reason for the hook hand is they chopped off his hand, going back to something we talked about last time, kept a souvenir. And so if the ritual's completed, right? He appears behind you, hook hand, stabs. Arrival is sudden. His intent is totally deadly. But perhaps scarier is the real story, the story of Ruthie Mae McCoy. So on April 2nd, 1987, in the evening, 52-year-old Ruthie Mae McCoy calls 911 from her apartment in the Abbott Homes, which is a public housing complex in Chicago. She reports that somebody's trying to enter her unit through the bathroom medicine cabinet. The dispatcher struggles to understand what she's saying or the urgency of her call. Shortly after the 911 call, though, police officers arrive, but in what is not the Chicago PD's finest moment, they do not force entry. They knock, hear no response, and they leave. Second visit from the police occurs later that night, again, without entering the apartment. So it's the next day, April 23rd, 1987, and a neighbor reports hearing gunshots and expresses concern. Police return. They still don't enter the apartment. Ruthie remains inside, presumably, maybe wounded, or maybe already deceased, hard to say. Then the next day, April 24th, 1987, so we're 2 days later, police finally enter Ruthie's apartment and discover her body. She'd been shot 4 times and was found dead in her bedroom. The apartment showed signs of forced entry through the bathroom medicine cabinet. So what happened here was that during construction of like large housing projects, most of the walls are cinder block. But there was empty space between the cinder block walls to run cables and other things like that and electrical. But the one place that was really vulnerable against these cinder block walls were the medicine cabinets, which had to be put up against the wall, and there was usually a piece of plywood behind them. And so the medicine cabinets that ran against these crawl spaces were places where people could break in and get into apartments. So I'll take you to the spring of 1990. Trial begins. 2 guys are arrested, John Hongras and Edward Turner. They're charged with Ruthie's murder. Prosecution relies really heavy on witness testimony, rumors throughout the building. And later in the year, both men are acquitted due to lack of physical evidence. The cops bungled the scene. Some of the witness accounts ended up being not reliable because of the way they were interrogated and other things like that. The case remains officially unsolved. And lesson number 1 of this story is that if you live in an apartment building or a condo, and yes, I'm speaking to you, whoever you are right now, pay attention to where your medicine cabinet is. I won't live in a place unless it abuts one of my interior walls, an exterior wall like outside, or it's against the elevator bank. So no medicine cabinets against anyone else's.
You take that very seriously.
Yes, I do. I seriously take that seriously. Yes. Lesson number 2, make sure whatever building you're moving into uses double wall construction with insulation and windigos in between the apartments if that's not the case. Because those windigos will keep you safe as long as you leave them alone. Lesson 3. Some say Ruthie's story became a movie, like I said. The ghost named Candyman, born of racial violence, haunting the projects through mirrors and whispers, right? Say his name 5 times and he comes. But the real horror, it's not the ghost, it's the silence. The way people ignored the cries from the cabinets and mirrors, the way they ignore the cries of people on the margins, like the man who was killed by the lynch mob. Mirrors, to me, are not just glass. They're portals. They reflect truth, but they also reveal the ugly things that are often hidden. So that's my story.
That's why the murderer covered those mirrors when he murdered the people in Villisca.
This is what I'm saying, because he was seeing the truth. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, this is an opportunity too. If you haven't seen the movie Candyman, it's a good movie to see during. I mean, this is the film.
90s version is so much better, but yeah, the modern one.
The original one. I mean, this is set in like, was it the Kelli Green like project?
Cabrini housing
Green. Oh yeah. And so yeah, a lot of these same kind of themes you're describing, like these like there's like a white anthropologist who's like investigating these stories and all
trying to
this stuff.
figure it out and get to the bottom of what ultimately happened there. And I think, it's a really interesting, the history of the story, because it was kind of initially forgotten in the immediate aftermath. And I think it's because the reporting pieces didn't really all come together until you got to the trial. But the Chicago Reader did an amazing story on it, breaking down all the systemic issues that were at play underneath it all. But really the thread in that, really, and I recommend the story, that you can still get a copy of it, was the sort of cost of silence and the cost of apathy. And I think, I think that the people who created the movie did a great job of taking those moral lessons that you could get out of the real story of Ruthie McCoy, and in delivering a broader message about the cost of silence or the cost of not listening.
What year was this trial, you said?
1990.
Okay, so the original movie comes out in 92. So it's like right on. It's fascinating thinking about when people are going to see this film in the theater. This is something that's a recent memory for them.
Literally going on. No,
Brian,
but I don't know how much
know
attention
that fact, or did you look it up?
I looked it up.
Of course it
so
I knew it was
sometime around when he 92. Was. Yeah.
But see, I don't know that it was a recent memory. I think people became aware of Ruthie McCoy's story during that time because of the movie.
I see.
Which is an interesting thing. I think it got very little coverage until that Chicago Reader piece came out, which may have inspired some of the people who toured the film. But yeah, I don't think they knew that. They knew that connection. By the way, dare you to say Candyman 5 times in the mirror.
Never. I would never do that. I don't even believe in stuff like that. I would not say Candyman. I wouldn't say Bloody Mary. I would not play the elevator game. Nope, none of it.
But you went into
Dawn Patton. Barely remember her. High school friend, Dawn Patton. I remember she had a cute friend from New Hampshire who was a friend of hers who would come down. But Dawn Patton, and I remember Dawn because I watched Candyman with a bunch of friends in Dawn's basement. And the TV was here and the bathroom door was right there. And you could see the mirror. And the moment where Candyman first appeared, and that's another Candyman thing, the bees swarm.
Yeah, the bees are a big thing.
The bees swarm before,
yeah,
because of the honey. No, I will never forget that moment. I think I was planted backwards into the couch, like 3 feet and into the drywall. I jumped. But anyway, sorry. Dawn,
for the record, I think I'll take my chances with the Candyman versus the iffy mushroom if I'm given a choice between the two.
No, and who is the guy who played Candyman?
Tony Todd.
Yeah,
I do know that.
Take my chances against him. Period. I wouldn't take chances. He's a nice guy, but I wouldn't take my chances against him. Period.
Oh boy.
He's a great actor. Is he still around?
He just recently died, but Final Destination Bloodlines, you can enjoy him in one of his last heartfelt performances.
Is that like the 20th Final Destination or something?
I didn't like it, but like a lot of people really did like the last Final Destination. So he's in a really interesting remake of Night of the Living Dead as well. So that like in terms of these films that are like have these like interesting social dimensions to them, that is available on Shudder right now. I just watched it recently the other night.
Yeah, just a great actor. Great actor. Yeah.
All right. Well, Kelly, what kind of mushroom story or haunted story do you have for us?
All right. Well, now we're going to dive into a classic unsolved mystery that's perfect for Halloween. It's chilling, scandalous, and it's straight out of the Roaring 20s. This is the Hall Mills murders, also known as the Lover's Lane murders, and it all went down in the fall of 1922 in New Brunswick, New Jersey, when the leaves were turning blood red and the nights were getting that eerie creepiness. Imagine a foggy evening, secrets whispering through the trees. Spooky, right? So let's meet our star-crossed lovers in this story. There's Reverend Edward, another reverend in this story, Edward Wheeler Hall, a handsome Episcopal priest in his early 40s, married to Frances Stevens Hall, a wealthy heiress from a prominent family. There's always money involved, I feel like. Frances was older than him, a bit stern, and their marriage, well, let's just say it wasn't setting the world on fire for either of them. And then there's Eleanor Mills, a beautiful 34-year-old choir singer at Hall's church. She was married to James Mills, the church sexton, who was a quiet, unassuming guy who worked odd jobs. Eleanor and Edward, well, they
quiet, unassuming, odd jobs.
Yes.
Put the
Yes.
effing handcuffs on
For
that.
Yeah,
that.
money's on him.
It's
Hold on,
always
hold on.
James.
Before you
Case
go on,
closed.
Jason.
Nobody's dead yet, but you're under arrest.
Yeah. Is this your psychic prediction?
I mean, yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the spirit moved me.
All right,
Yeah.
put it in an envelope right now.
Put it
and
in-
Or
let's
that in
see
the
what
bank.
Turns out.
Because we'll come back to that. So Eleanor and Edward were sneaking around, exchanging steamy love letters.
Okay, come on. We have the odd jobs guy who's a sexton who is quiet, unassuming, and he's having an affair with.
No, he's married to the woman who's having an affair.
Oh, he's married to the woman
Store
having
him
an affair.
as
Just
a
as bad.
suspect.
Okay.
Suspect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seriously,
So,
can we
yeah.
minority
So-
report predictive arrest here?
Yeah.
Just-
Yep. So Eleanor
Sorry.
and Edward, the priest and the choir singer.
Priest.
So yeah.
Do we have evidence these letters are steamy available?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be
Well,
The
and if they were
whole town's
steamy for
gonna
the
find out about it.
1920s, look out.
You know, Kelly, that could be a separate podcast of
yes,
you
the
reading
steamy
those
love letters. Yeah. So they were sneaking around, exchanging these steamy love letters. They were meeting in hidden spots under the crabapple tree. They were having the ultimate forbidden romance in a small town where everyone knows your business. So fast forward to September 14th, 1922, Edward tells his wife that he has to head out for a quick errand, and Eleanor slips out too
Wait,
from
like
her
actually
unassuming
under
husband.
crab trees? I need to ask a question.
They're-
Actually
yeah.
under crab trees, or was that just like an extra detail? You're
No, the crabapple tree.
Oh,
It's
God.
it's significant under
Okay.
the crabapple tree.
Do you know
So
what I think it is?
You got me
Yeah.
I'm a
crying.
psychic. I don't think I'm a psychic. I think I'm just enough of a writer that I know how people tell stories. So when you introduce a character in a certain place, I'm like, he did it. Go on.
He's the one. Yes.
I watch Dateline and I'm like, 5 minutes in, he did it. Goodbye. All right,
So-
carry on.
So Edward, the minister, he says he has to run an errand. Eleanor also tells her unassuming, quiet husband she has to run to the doctor, is what she said. So they vanish off into the night. 2 days later, on the 16th, two sisters stumble across a nightmare. Edward and Eleanor lie dead under the crabapple tree. Under the crabapple tree, posed in a lover's embrace.
Well,
Edward,
what I can say here is we saved the world with at least one murder.
yes. So they're posed in a lover's embrace.
Edward
under
was on his way.
Yes. Oh, but Edward, the minister, he had been shot in the head, and there's a business card that identified him by name placed deliberately on one of his shoes.
Whoa.
But Eleanor's fate was worse. She had 3 bullets to the head and a slashed throat. Her stockings had been cut off and placed under Edward's head like a macabre pillow. Their love letters then had been exposed and scattered on the ground around them like confetti, exposed all their
This
secrets.
is like a confession.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So the town was in chaos after that. The locals, they were grabbing, again, those souvenirs, grabbing shell casings as souvenirs off the ground, trampling the evidence at the scene, which was, I felt, so common during that time. So, but it was obviously not a robbery or anything like that. It was personal. It was personal.
Wait a second.
So, what?
The chaos isn't like they've all got to get their souvenir. There's this like Black Friday rush to get their piece of the crime scene.
Exactly.
Wait,
taking
wait.
the love letters, yes.
So
They had to check it out because it rocked this community. So
the love letters are there. Her
yes.
pantyhose are under his head.
Yes.
Her neck has been slashed. She was shot 3 times. And he was shot.
One time.
And you've got the neighbors stealing shit from the crime scene.
Yeah.
So, like, statistically, we know that if 2 people are killed, there's likely to be 1 offender. That seems like a lot of work. Do we have to? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think they probably shot, I don't know, maybe shot Edward execution style, 1 bullet to the head, and then, I don't know,
then
made her watch or something.
Shot her? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So the town obviously is in complete chaos. It's buzzing with gossip. Everyone already knew of their affair. It was the church's worst kept secret.
Wait, one more question.
Yeah.
Same caliber bullet?
Oh, that is a good question.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I was assuming yes. We'll just assume yes.
My psychic suspicions are turning in a new direction. Multiple suspects. Go on.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, maybe. Because Frances Hall, Edward, the minister's wife, she had brothers, Henry and Willie Stevens, and they were actually at the top of the suspect list. Frances was obviously, she was already wealthy, but she was going to inherit, a large estate. But her brother, Henry, was a sharpshooter.
Wait, they're setting the husband up.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Like, normally the husband did it, and clearly these guys may have known that.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
The love letters, the other stuff. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
It does look staged like that. Like,
this is what I'm saying.
Scorned lover, but actually maybe it was like an insurance thing and like retribution, but revenge, but also like, yeah, she's gonna inherit.
Put on my profiler hat here for a moment. Okay, so
and then
you're gonna go kill some people, right?
Yes,
I'm gonna go kill some people.
Yep.
And let's say it's because they're having an affair and one of them's my partner.
They're running errands. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the main people who need to know that I'm killing them because they have an affair or having an affair already know, right? So, because I just killed them and they saw me and they know why I'm killing them. If you as a killer are going to take the time to leave the love letters, that had to be very meaningful to you because you increase the risk, which is what makes me think that someone was trying to set up the husband. But go on.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Well, okay, so we're going to get to witnesses now. So there's Jane Gibson. She's known as the Pig Woman. She was a hog farmer who lived nearby. Eccentric lady, this Jane Gibson.
I wish we had a picture of that.
I honestly don't believe any of this is weird, but go on.
Some of the pictures are wild. Okay, she claimed...
Kelly's going to get to the end of this and be like, and by the way, I made all of this shit up.
Chat GPT wrote this fever dream of a story.
I was hallucinating.
But she claims she saw Frances and 2 men in the fog, that she heard a scream. Somebody yelled name, and she heard, her story was really wild and dramatic. It was shaky. She was called a liar in court. In fact, her own mother called her a liar in the courtroom. She was just a really unreliable witness from what I'm hearing. And her health was failing during this time. She actually gave her testimony from a bed that they had wheeled into the courtroom. She was like on her deathbed, literally a bed.
That's literally
laying
on
in
your
bed.
deathbed if you're getting
Yes.
rolled in on your
Giving her
deathbed.
testimony from this bed, and everybody just said, "You're a crazy liar. None of what you're saying really happened." So Eleanor's husband, James, knew of the affair, but everyone thought James is way too meek to commit a crime like this, or was he? So we're wondering, was it a jealous spouse? Was it a family cover-up? Was it an eccentric local or a vagrant in the area? The 1926 trial, it was a total media circus, as I'm describing, but all the suspects would walk free. The case, it's unsolved to this day, a ghostly mystery. So
who was put on trial?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if they're actually, I don't know who is on trial actually. But that's a great question, honestly.
Hold on. I just looked it up. Frances Hall, Edward's wife.
Frances. Okay.
Her
brother.
brothers,
Yes,
Henry and
okay.
William Stevens, and a cousin, Henry Carpenter, not Carp.
Yeah. The pig woman actually said too that she heard someone yell Henry, but they said you're crazy. So, yeah. So we leave New Brunswick. The crabapple tree stands silent, the only witness guarding its secrets. Edward and Eleanor's love ended in tragedy, and their killer is lost in the fog. So, this Halloween, the Lover's Lane murders remind us that passion can spark both devotion and destruction. What do you guys think?
Were these letters ready for trial?
I think murder has no statute of limitations, so I think we should go investigate this.
Go get him.
Yeah, let's go get him. Let's go.
Cameron,
let's go kick in some doors.
We should go to like some pawn shops and get the shit back that was taken from the scene.
Yes, right. Let's start locking those people up.
Yeah. That'd probably be the first step. Get back the actual evidence.
I really thought it was the husband, but I don't. I think it was the brother, the sharpshooter that's setting up. I like your theory of setting him up and
and I wonder whether there was like an inheritance thing or
there was, yes.
So there's like a mixed motive, maybe the affair, maybe something else, and at a time where it may have been harder to get a divorce and keep kids and get the property.
A fun fact, F. Scott Fitzgerald and his wife Zelda followed this case really closely, and there are little elements of this case that they say influenced The Great Gatsby a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah. So do you think with like modern DNA technology they would be able to figure this out, or do you think it would be a mystery still?
If they actually had evidence from that case, I mean,
there had to be DNA on the business card or the love letters, something. I would think.
Just the amount of stuff,
the pantyhose,
or not stored properly. I mean, we learned, that from our book, A Murder on Campus.
I think you're definitely gonna have a chain of custody issue.
Yes. Yep. For sure. So, that's the Hall Mills murders.
Story.
All right.
Do you know if they had kids?
Oh, I don't think they had kids. I heard nothing I read mentioned children at all. And she was a little older than him. She was like 7 years older than him.
Okay.
So and so he was in his 40s, and so she would have been late 40s. So I don't think they had kids.
Another question, which you may or may not know: was there a big age differential between her, Mills, and Hall?
The woman he was having an affair with, she was 32. So he was about 40, and she was 32. So,
Interesting. That's a cool story.
Yeah, very cool.
It's an old story. There's not a ton about it out there, but yeah.
Is this the case that's still kind of known in that area or talked about at all?
Yeah, I think it became urban legend and lore and little ghost story. Like, don't go to DeRuzzi's Lane. You might end up seeing a ghost. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, speaking of seeing ghosts, we're about to talk about the Slender Man.
Ooh. I love creepy pasta stories, so this is crazy.
Yeah. At least this kind of has a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to travel back to May 30th, 2014.
Happy ending.
Happy ending.
I think I call it more of a not as bad as it could be.
So, like, your guy had his arm lopped
this
off.
Is such a cop moment, by the way. This is such a cop moment. A cop's version of a happy ending without giving up this story is just not as much death. Not as much death.
Yeah.
Or like the death came easy.
He only got stabbed repeatedly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You only lost one eye.
It was just like 20 times. I mean, come on. It's a flesh wound.
Carry on. Right. Yes. Merely a flesh wound.
Oh my gosh.
You
All right.
Drinking in the break? Got the giggles.
The best part is I don't drink.
What's in the Jayson?
Could you imagine if I did? But go on. What were you saying?
I said, what's in your vape pen?
Dude, I'm just telling you. I am just like this. This, by the way, is why I love being guests on other people's podcasts, because on my podcast, I focus and I try to really think deeply about things, and I talk like this. But I just let loose when anyone makes a mistake.
I'm all for it.
Have
That's
fun
what I like
with
about
it.
this group setting.
Yeah.
We're around our virtual campfire, telling stories, and
Got lots of candles burning. It's like a fire.
oh my gosh!
I've
All
got
right,
the digital ones going. Oh.
let's try this again.
No, just keep on going
here.
Just keep on going. Slender Man.
Yeah.
Creepypasta.
All right, so it's May 30th, 2014. We're in Wisconsin, in a quiet, family-friendly suburban home where nothing bad happens. 3 12-year-old girls, Morgan, Anissa, and Peyton, are all having a birthday sleepover. Pretty common, right? Nothing could go wrong here. Peyton, whose friends call her Bella, was a bright, kind, creative 12-year-old. And her and Morgan were best friends since 4th grade. So Anissa joins their circle, and she's a bit shy, socially awkward, often glued to the tablet or scrolling through internet stories. And they're all into, this Slender Man story that is posted online. But to everyone else, this is just a normal slumber party. They're having pizza. They've got Barbies out. They're watching movies and playing music. But behind the laughter, 2 of the girls had a different plan. One that involved a knife and a forest and an online ghost called Slender Man. Da, da, da. Do I not get some sound effects here? All right. So Morgan and Anissa they decide to, like you were saying earlier, they went on to creepypasta, and they were into their favorite character was Slender Man, who's like this 8-foot tall, faceless figure in a black suit, and he stalks kids and punishes them if they disobey. And there's all these stories about him kidnapping kids and whatnot, and cheap Photoshop pictures of him like at a playground.
Sounds creepy.
I was thinking more eerie. Okay. So Anissa and introduces Morgan to the whole story, and she starts telling him that Slender Man lives in this mansion in the woods and near the house, and that he needs proxies that are servants who do his bidding. And so they think that the only way to prove their loyalty to Slender Man is to kill someone. Now, Kelli, when you were 12, did you have any slumber parties where you talked about, like killing people in the woods and
Not
whatnot?
No, we did play Barbies
Okay.
still. Got out once in a while, like the Ouija board or something, but that's as dark as it got.
But it didn't revolve around
No murder.
your friend.
Nope,
Okay.
that was later.
All right. I just wanted to check on that. All right. So again, like, you've got Peyton, who's this 12-year-old. She's in middle school. She's very outgoing. She trusts these girls. And what she didn't realize is that they had this whole plot to kill him. So at the sleepover, the other girls are actually talking about how they're thinking about killing her.
I hear it.
In her sleep. They're going to smother her with a pillow. But then they get the idea that I guess they didn't want to do it at the house. So they decide to go to the woods the next morning, and they're going to, quote, play hide and seek, which always sounds like a bad idea. And Peyton, of course, agrees because these are her friends. So about 9:50 that morning, they go into the woods, and there's a small clearing, and Morgan pulls out a kitchen knife, and then she stabs Peyton 19 times while Anissa is urging her to stab. And then after they stab her, they tell Peyton to lay down so, quote, the blood will come out faster. Then they leave her there bleeding alone, and, she thinks that she might die. But the good in this, why this is a good story in a messed up way, is that Peyton actually crawls out of the woods. And of course, she's got a trail of blood behind her, and she reaches this bike path. And there's a passing cyclist that sees her, just completely soaked in blood, calls 911. And when rescuers arrive, she actually tells them that my friend did this. So they airlift her to the hospital. She's got wounds on her arms, legs, and torso, and one of them misses a major artery by like a millimeter. So despite the odds against her, she actually survives. So around noon that day, the police spot Morgan and Anissa walking along I-94 with a bloody knife in their backpack. That may be a clue. You'd think they would know to get rid of that one. But the girls confidently explain that they're on their way to Slender Man's mansion to live with him. And so this is where it gets really interesting. Wisconsin, during that time, I don't know if they've changed it since then, but you did not have to have a parent with you during interviews. So they actually brought these girls back to the station and conduct interviews. And Anissa says we had to do it or he would hurt our families, referring to the Slender Man. And Morgan tries to say that Slender Man told us to do it. So they end up, this goes to trial, and Anissa pleads guilty to attempted second-degree homicide, but is found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect and sentenced to 25 years in a state mental institution. Morgan pleads guilty to attempted first-degree intentional homicide and also is found not guilty by reason of mental disease. She's sentenced to 40 years in a psychiatric facility. And so September 2021, Anissa is granted conditional release under strict supervision and GPS monitoring, and Morgan remains institutionalized and is still going under mental health reviews.
I have an episode coming out tomorrow where we talk about this, and it's Brett Talley, he's the co-host of the Prosecutors Podcast, and he's also a horror writer. One of the points that he made that I thought was really interesting is this all started, Slender Man started because one guy posted on a message board as part of a contest. And one of the points that he makes that I thought was really interesting, he's like, people have probably created a version of that character many times, but it caught on in that moment at this time in our culture and society where it really there was this opportunity to take off. And one of the things that I really thought about this that was really interesting, the idea of a creepy character that the legend is a little bit different, but that had this house that you could go live with him, that would promise to protect you and pull you off right as we're getting worried about like predators on the internet. Like Slender Man is almost like the warning sign to the predators that would come in the future. Anyway, a bit of an aside.
Yeah, that is interesting. It actually turns into a video game as well, too. I don't know if you realize that.
No, I didn't know.
No, I didn't know.
It became a popular video game and
a fictional film too. They've done a fictional film, I believe.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the video game became really popular as well, and it was one of those first like kind of horror games where the that kind of like jump out factor was played into. Where
It's
like 13
was this after the murder?
TV.
After the murder of the video
I
game?
believe this was after the murder.
I am so surprised they would do something like that after such a controversial,
horrible thing.
Well, yeah, happened.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, like this idea of a man who would manipulate you too and promise you and lure you to his house.
It's the Pied Piper of Hamelin, right? Too, in some way.
Yeah,
right? Like
gingerbread house, right? But he's going to protect you and keep you safe from your evil mom and dad or friends or whoever.
Make a sacrifice to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really funny of how far we've come in that. I mean, you think about what kids were looking at back then and how influenced they are. And now today with AI, you can make a video look very real.
Yeah.
Look at those pictures, and it's like, okay, like that
Blair Witch Project, right? Like that, that was like revolutionary when that came out. An interesting thing about this story is that Morgan was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. She had a family history of paranoid schizophrenia, which suggests that there wasn't malingering at her part. But Anissa, who is the ringleader, I know what moment just creeped me out in this whole story. After the stabbing, Anissa supposedly tells Peyton to like lie down and not move, telling her that it will help her lose blood faster.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a stone cold psychopath.
Watching the interviews with these kids, that's what's really eerie. It's just, I believe it was Morgan
because they even apologized to her and
but like Morgan was just kind of like dancing in the interview room before the interviewers come in, and then when the detectives come in, she nonchalantly is just like, "Is she dead?" And they're like, she's at the hospital right now," and she's like, "Okay, I was just wondering."
Did it just not register with them what they had done, or was it literally a complete lack of remorse?
I don't think you can them this one on this one.
Yeah.
On episode 3, for people listening, when we're talking about the Cassie Joe murder, you've got Brian that after decades kind of like finally confesses to what he's done. And I think the spending that long in prison kind of I wouldn't say awakened like what he actually did, but maybe there's some realization where I feel like these kids just cannot. They're still in that fog.
Mhm.
So here's what the defense argued. The defense argued this. So, like, they had the legit diagnosis of Morgan as paranoid schizophrenic, right? So, family history, unlikely to be lingering, But so then what Annalise's defense did, in what is a slick but probably BS move, is they argued folie deux, the shared psychosis of two, shared psychotic disorder, and
Okay.
that she was sort of like, it's kind of like the Bonnie and Clyde disease, picking up and sort of like transmitting. And you usually see this happening inside families where you have one person who's psychotic and then other people pick up their delusions. But the problem with the story is that would make sense if Morgan was the ringleader. If Morgan was the one encouraging it because Morgan had a delusion, Annalise jumped on this delusion, but it was the other way around. Annalise was the one who was encouraging this paranoid schizophrenic person to go do this. So it certainly suggests that, it's an example where probably mental disease and defect was used both correctly and completely incorrectly. And so it's a tough one.
When I think a lot of this case reminds me too of like some of the conversations we've had about how modern urban legends are started. I mean, this started as a Photoshop contest, like we've alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gained a new life as a kind of creepypasta, and where fans were kind of writing their own versions of these stories. And then when this actual crime happens, I mean, it's spun out into lots of different things where the crime itself has become a kind of part of the actual fabric of this urban legend as well, where it's almost like the legend predated the crime, but now the crime almost like kind of has
changed the legend.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about like how these are kind of circulated in that way. Now we have these adaptations and stuff, and other, like whether it's video games or movies or other things, and they kind of take into account, or in some cases might even like reference this real thing that occurred, like tied to it. And it's interesting the way that these stories kind of absorb these other things, that kind of these milestones that kind of come up, and kind of it spins into something different.
Was the Slender Man defense, I mean, was that BS, or do you think they really believed in Slender Man?
That's a good question because,
I mean, it could be both.
yeah,
Right? Like their actual defense, or like I tend to think that Annalise's defense is BS. I just think she's a garden variety child psychopath that happens. But it could be a BS, taking her as an example. It could be BS and she also believed it. Either way, she probably doesn't need to be on the street.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they were walking down, I guess they had walked like 5 miles, I believe it was, from the crime scene afterwards.
Well, because they had to get to Slenderman's house. Like, they were serious about this.
I wonder, how do you think that conversation went?
So, like, but this is where it gets really delicate. Like, a lot of serial killers have weird ass delusions. People have weird delusions. And I think part of the challenge, right? And I come from like the mental health world, and I've seen like real people who should not be locked up in prison. They should be locked up in psychiatric institutions because they're totally delusional and they truly didn't know right from wrong. It's very rare, right? The last time I had one like that, even the local jailers were like, "Good God, this guy does not belong here. He can't tell up from." But the thing about it is, I think we have to remember we incarcerate people for multiple reasons, right? We incarcerate them for retribution, right? For punishment. We incarcerate them to give them an opportunity to be rehabilitated. We incarcerate them to incapacitate them so they can't harm society, right? And all of these are like, balancing the scales is a legitimate reason for it, all these other things. And I think the one, when it comes to kids, we tend to focus on the rehabilitation part of it, or are they really responsible for their actions? But I think in a case like this, you see clearly why the incapacitation, the ability to incapacitate someone so they can't harm someone else, is important whether you have a mental condition or not.
Mm-hmm. What do you think should happen to them, or would be I mean, they're 12. Mm-hmm. So do they stay, are they ever let back into society without a GPS monitor, or like, what do you do?
Absolutely. They'll integrate back into society. I mean, one, our juvenile justice system isn't really poised to manage things like this. It would have been impossible to try them as adults, so they would have eventually aged out in their early 20s in Wisconsin. But yeah, I mean, I think when you're talking about somebody that young, who they are at that point is not a reflection of what they're going to be like when they're older. But now they have this layer of trauma, because I think we forget that perpetrators also have trauma. Yeah. And I also have a lot of rationalizations. Now they have this extra hurdle that they're going to have to manage that may make it harder, whether they harm anyone again or not, but just harder to survive and to function. And like one of the myths of it's a myth in true crime, it's a myth in the criminal justice system, is that psychopathy can't be treated. We just stop studying it at some point, just like we stopped studying sadism. And part of the reason why we stopped studying it and we stopped studying sadism was there was this fear, if we continued to research them and find treatments for them, what would happen in the interim is people would be able to use sadism and being a psychopath as a defense. So the medical community stopped researching them. So the reason why we think it's treatable is we've stopped trying to, or not treatable, because we've stopped trying to treat it or to research it or to understand it. So I have a hard time, I have a hard time buying into that idea that somehow being a psychopath or a sadist is some kind of sui generis personality disorder, when we have 12 others that can all be treated, but somehow these magically can't. No, we stopped studying them. People thought borderline was impossible to treat, but guess what? It is. So I have hope for one of the two.
But the other girl, yeah, you said she should never be allowed. You don't think?
I don't think so, but I still couldn't prejudge it with her being 12.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, look, one of them I would not invite over.
I would not invite probably either of them over.
I'd be cool with chatting with them under the right conditions. I'd actually be cool with Morgan. I don't have a problem. I'll do crazy.
Well, this is one of those cases, and thinking about like Halloween, that like plays to this, like, this story that kind of contrasts with, I mean, this is like The Bad Seed, this like novel in the mid 20th century, or The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin, for those of you that saw Macaulay Culkin's like kind of heel turn. There's something about the kind of innocence of childhood that we associate, where these cases, when they do pop up, so flies in the face of that we don't really know what to do with them, because it seems they're not, they don't really fit into this kind of box of how we want to kind of imagine our relationship to children, I think.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are all very deep thoughts.
I mean, the Home Alone kid as a child psychopath was not the easiest thing for me to swallow.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a...
Cameron's like in his head. I don't know what these people are talking about. Lock them up.
I'm just waiting for I'm waiting for their rabbit hole to,
start to come out of the rabbit hole. I'll see you at the Earth's core, buddy.
Well, with this case too, thinking about like the Photoshop image that like became the urban legend. You were mentioning AI earlier, Cameron. I think it's like that's where the next like urban legends, like those videos where you can't really tell the difference, or there's that question about it. I was listening to this interview the other day with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was saying that like he has this theory that with AI that eventually it's going to push us away from the internet, because he said the videos are going to become so good that it's just really impossible to tell the difference between what is real and what isn't real. And because of that, people are basically that'll be the collapse of the internet that ends up happening. And I was thinking about that the other day when I was watching a video that popped up that was like, it was a WWE AI film that I've been sending the cameras. They've been popping on my feed all the time. I don't know where they came from. And it was, amongst other things, it was this complicated video that was, like Martin Luther King Jr. came into the Monday Night Raw ring. He took a heel turn. John F. Kennedy came in. Pablo Escobar came in with like a helicopter. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it looked like lifelike video when you're watching it. And
that's also like, you've heard, it's a bit of a conspiracy, but the dead internet theory.
Yes, I know a lot. I did an episode about that. Yeah.
I've never heard about this.
Yeah, so it's the thought that like most of what's happening on the internet today is populated by bots and AI
up to like 80%. Like it's just not real anymore. It's like very little human interaction.
And I was actually talking to somebody who's relatively young in college right now about their use of the internet, because we're not on a lot of social media apps. And what happened over the years with people is, there was the wave of the Facebook users, and then the Instagram and the Snapchat, and each each group of people just picked up a new and different app that had other features. This person doesn't use much social media, doesn't use their phone much other than text messages and calls. It's relatively social, has friends at school. And what she was saying to me is, well, there's just no authenticity out there. Nothing's real. Like, people say things they don't mean. They paint pictures of their families that don't exist. They put up videos that are fake. Like, there's nothing real there. The only real is out here. And I thought that was really interesting, potentially wise, fits in with your Neil deGrasse Tyson point.
And I mean, that's absolutely true. And the thing about it is you get rewarded, the more you put out, and whether it's true or not. And I can see how that gets very addictive. I mean, even shows like this, I'm constantly looking at how many views it's gotten, how many subscribers, which reminds me to, hit that subscribe button so you can get on it there. But yeah, I mean, seeing your numbers go up, that makes you want to adjust things. And
rule number 1, don't look at the numbers. That's my rule number 1. I had to log into my podcast hosting platform to approve some things, and I was like, oh wow, I haven't looked at my numbers in like 6 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Early on it was like every day, but I was like, this is an unhealthy habit, and I'm just going to do work that I like. But it was funny to go through the numbers and be like, wow, that episode did really good. I didn't think that one would do well, or that would, and I'm a big, and this kind of like ties back, I think, to that point. I think there's a counter reaction to it, right? Like, as there's more AI generated art, even some of the really good art that exists, I found myself gravitating toward handmade art, for example. Like, my podcast covers are all, designed by an artist. The stuff behind me are real watercolor prints that, thank you, National Park Service, for accidentally giving them up to a gallery and me hunting them down and buying them. But I think there can be a counter reaction to, to these things that we may have a hard time predicting. That, or I'm going to be some kind of hermit with my watercolors in the corner.
Oh, I'm totally going to be. I'm going to be living off the grid, hunting my mushrooms, making homemade soap, growing a garden.
That's the
life I'm striving for.
Call me on your message in a bottle.
Yes. I hope Amazon still delivers often.
I mean, Amazon's addictive too. Just being able to get something right away.
Yeah.
And to the point where it used to be, oh, it's a Chinese ripoff. I don't want it. It's going to break. Now it's just expectation. It's like, it's a fraction of the price. And it'll be what you
$2, I
want.
can have it in the morning. Yes,
Right.
I will do that.
Well,
yeah, this was fun again.
It was fun.
Once again,
I don't know what I'm going to do with my Monday nights anymore. Jeez.
Well, that's a good point because we've got the holidays coming
you
up.
could always start a new podcast.
Oh, I'm working on it right now.
Are you really?
We're already talking about having a Thanksgiving special.
Oh, nice.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Christmas time, there's going to be a special for that too. So,
I'm down.
and Jayson, you've got to wear a Santa Claus hat.
Yeah, right. You guys didn't even dress up for this. I'm so
my 2
disappointed.
masks. Yeah.
You did.
I put this
I was
ugly
You guys
face.
are lame.
I put this
And I
ugly
brought a
face
prop.
on the camera. Consider me dressed up like a Halloween character every time.
Oh,
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Jayson, thank you so much. Hope everyone goes to Silver Lining Podcast and likes and subscribes that. He's on several shows as well. Kelli, make sure that you've got true crime sleep stories is your big thing going on right now.
Yep.
And they can find that on YouTube and wherever you get a podcast.
Yes.
Kelli
All
also has a ton of books. If you just go on Amazon, type in Kelli Brink.
Yep.
She's got a ton of true crime books. Go check those out. Brian, I think you're going to want to promote A Murder on Campus, The Professor, the Cop, and North Carolina's Most Notorious Cold Case. I hear it's great. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and Audible.
Start your Christmas shopping early. It's not on sale right now, but buy it. Why it's not on sale? So.
Yeah. And if you would like to support me, please like and subscribe to Santana True Crime. Thank you all very much, and happy Halloween.